Captain Jaxon gripped the control panel, his knuckles white as his ship, the Stardust, pierced the atmosphere of the uncharted planet. The vast emerald landscape filled the view screen, a stark contrast to the inky blackness of space. He felt a thrill course through him, the thrill of the unknown. This planet, designated only as GX7, promised something extraordinary. "Atmospheric reading stable, Captain," reported Lieutenant Anya, her voice calm and steady. "We're clear for landing." Jaxon nodded, his eyes glued to the swirling patterns of green and brown below. The Stardust, a sleek vessel designed for interstellar exploration, hummed with quiet power as it descended towards the planet's surface. The air grew thick with the scent of unfamiliar flora, a heady mix of sweet and pungent. The ship touched down on a plateau overlooking a vast, verdant valley. The silence was almost deafening, broken only by the hum of the Stardust's engines winding down. Captain Jaxon rose from his seat, his gaze sweeping over the landscape. "Let's see what secrets this planet holds," he murmured, a hint of excitement in his voice. The team, a mix of seasoned explorers and eager scientists, assembled in the ship's cargo bay. They were outfitted in their environmental suits, ready to face whatever this alien world threw at them. "Remember," Jaxon addressed the team, his voice amplified by his suit's communicator, "we're here to observe and learn. This planet is untouched, pristine. Let's keep it that way." The team disembarked the Stardust, their boots crunching on the strange, moss-covered ground. The air was warm and humid, thick with the sounds of unseen creatures. Dr. Lin, the team's biologist, knelt down examining a cluster of iridescent fungi with a sense of wonder. Her fingers danced over her datapad, recording observations. "Deploying drones," announced Lieutenant Kaito, his fingers flying across a control panel. With a whirring sound, 3 small, agile drones shot up into the air. They fanned out, their sensors scanning the environment, mapping the terrain and analyzing the atmosphere. The data streamed back to the Stardust, painting a detailed picture of their surroundings. "Captain, we're picking up unusual energy readings," Lieutenant Anya reported from her station on the ship. "There's something about 5 kilometers west of our position. It's faint, but definitely artificial." Jackson's eyebrows shot up. "Artificial energy readings on an uncharted planet? This expedition just got a whole lot more interesting." "All right, team," Jaxon declared, his voice laced with anticipation. "Looks like we have our first lead. Let's move out." The team, their curiosity piqued, followed their captain towards the source of the energy readings, their eyes scanning the dense foliage for any sign of the unexpected. The jungle hummed around them, a symphony of alien life. The energy readings led them to a clearing, and in the middle of that clearing stood a structure unlike anything they had ever seen. It was a monolith, tall and slender, made of a material that shimmered like polished obsidian. Strange symbols etched into the surface of the monolith seemed to writhe and shift as the sunlight played upon them. "Incredible," breathed Dr. Singh, the team's archaeologist, his eyes wide with awe. "This is unlike any civilization we've encountered before." He reached out a gloved hand to touch the monolith, but Jaxon stopped him with a firm grip on his shoulder. "Caution is advised, Doctor," Jaxon said, his voice grave. "We don't know what we're dealing with." The team deployed their scanners, trying to get a read on the monolith's composition and energy signature. The readings were baffling, suggesting a technology far beyond their understanding. The symbols on the monolith pulsed with a faint rhythmic light. It was as if the monolith was breathing, alive with a power they could only guess at. Days turned into weeks as the team meticulously documented the monolith and its surroundings. They discovered an entrance, concealed by a shimmering energy field that rippled as they approached. Cautiously, they stepped inside, their lights cutting through the gloom. The interior was breathtaking. The walls were adorned with intricate murals depicting scenes of a civilization unlike any they had ever seen. Creatures with sleek silver skin soared through the skies on wings of light. Cities gleaming and impossibly tall reached for the heavens, and at the heart of it all a being of pure energy, radiating power and wisdom. They harnessed the very fabric of space-time, Dr. Singh whispered, his voice filled with awe. Their technology was beyond anything we could have imagined. The team discovered artifacts, devices that hummed with residual energy. They found data crystals filled with the knowledge and history of a long-lost civilization. They learned that this civilization, the Luminaries, as they called themselves, had achieved a level of technological and spiritual enlightenment that was almost unimaginable. They had mastered interstellar travel, manipulated energy at a quantum level, and even conquered death itself. But their story was not one of uninterrupted progress. There were hints of a cataclysmic event, a disaster that had brought their civilization crashing down. Section 5, The Guardian Awakens. As the team delved deeper into the secrets of the monolith, they felt a shift in the energy around them. The air grew heavy, charged with an unseen power. The symbols on the walls glowed with an eerie intensity. They were not alone. A figure materialized before them, seemingly woven from the very light that permeated the monolith. It was humanoid in form, but its features were indistinct, constantly shifting and reforming. Its eyes, however, were clear and piercing, radiating an ancient wisdom that seemed to weigh upon their very souls. "Greetings," the being boomed, its voice echoing through the chamber. "I am the Guardian, the keeper of this place, the last remnant of the Luminaries' legacy." The team stood in awed silence, their lights trembling in the being's presence. The Guardian's gaze swept over them, evaluating, judging. "You have come seeking knowledge," it continued, its voice resonating with power. "But knowledge without understanding is a dangerous thing. Before you can delve any further into the secrets of the Luminaries, you must prove yourselves worthy." Section 6, The Trial Unveiled. Captain Jaxon stepped forward, his jaw set with determination. He had faced down space pirates, navigated treacherous nebulae, and stared down alien predators without flinching. But this was different. This was not a matter of brute force or technological superiority. This was a challenge on a different level entirely. "We are here to learn," Jaxon said, his voice firm despite the tremor of awe he felt in the presence of the Guardian. "We mean no disrespect. We believe that the knowledge of the Luminaries should be shared, not kept hidden away." The Guardian's expression remained unreadable, its luminous form flickering with contained power. "Knowledge is a gift," the Guardian intoned, its voice echoing with an ancient sadness. "But it is also a burden. The Luminaries learned this lesson too late. Their thirst for knowledge, their relentless pursuit of progress, ultimately led to their downfall." The Guardian turned its piercing gaze on the team. "To prove yourselves worthy, you must face 3 trials. Trials of intellect, empathy, and wisdom. Succeed, and the knowledge of the Luminaries will be yours to share. Fail, and your memories will be erased, and you will be sent back to your world none the wiser." Section 7. The Weight of Legacy. Captain Jaxon felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He looked at his team, their faces etched with a mixture of apprehension and determination. They hadn't come this far to be deterred by a challenge, however daunting. "We accept your trials, Guardian," Jaxon declared, his voice unwavering. The air crackled with energy as the Guardian gestured towards a shimmering portal that shimmered into existence. "The first trial awaits," it boomed, its voice resonating with an ancient power. "Enter and face the echoes of the past." The team exchanged nervous glances. The unknown stretched before them, filled with uncertainty and danger. Jaxon took a deep breath, steeling himself. He knew that the trials ahead would test them to their very limits. But he also knew that the knowledge they stood to gain, the legacy of the Luminaries, was worth any risk. "Let's do this," he murmured, leading his team towards the shimmering portal. Section 8. Echoes of the Ancients. The portal shimmered and swirled, pulling them through a vortex of light and sound. When their vision cleared, they found themselves in a vast chamber, its walls adorned with holographic projections of the Luminaries' civilization at its zenith. The projections flickered and danced around them, showing bustling cities, incredible technologies, and the everyday lives of a people far ahead of their time. "This is incredible," Dr. Lin whispered, her eyes wide with awe. "It's like stepping into a history book, but 1,000 times more vivid." She reached out a hand, her fingers passing through the holographic image of a luminary child playing with a device that seemed to defy gravity. The first trial is not about mere observation. The Guardian's voice boomed through the chamber, startling the team. You must decipher the patterns of the past, understand the choices made, and learn from the mistakes of the luminaries. As if on cue, the holographic projections began to shift, showing the luminaries' civilization at its peak, but also its struggles, its internal conflicts, and its growing disconnect from the natural world. Section 9. Guardians of Time. The team found themselves standing before a massive crystal, its facets pulsing with a kaleidoscope of colors. The air thrummed with energy, and the very chamber seemed to vibrate in harmony with the crystal's pulse. They were in the heart of the monolith, the source of its power, the repository of the luminaries' wisdom. You have proven yourselves worthy, the Guardian's voice echoed through the chamber, filled with a sense of peace and acceptance. You have faced the echoes of the past, understood the weight of empathy, and glimpsed the wisdom of balance. The Guardian's form shimmered, becoming more defined, revealing a being of immense grace and power. The knowledge of the luminaries is now yours to safeguard, the Guardian intoned, its voice resonating with the weight of ages. Use it wisely, use it well. Remember the lessons of the past, and forge a future where knowledge and wisdom walk hand in hand. Captain Jaxon, humbled by the experience, placed a hand on the crystal. The knowledge it held, the history of a civilization lost and found, flowed into him. He understood. They were not just explorers, not just scientists. They were now guardians, entrusted with a legacy that stretched back eons. The fate of this knowledge, the wisdom to prevent a similar fate from befalling his own people, rested on his shoulders. The weight was immense, but he would bear it. He had to. For the future, for humanity, for the legacy of the luminaries.